So it all began in 2008 when we noticed a major trend in the American church. We looked at the statistics and found that 85% of all churches were declining, with 11% growing, but just barely. There was a bright spot though. 4% of the churches were growing, and fast, most at the rate of over 35% per year. When we took a closer look, we found strikingly similar practices that were part of the DNA of these churches. It didn't matter what the denomination, size, cultural context, ethnicity, or financial status of the church was, they all did certain core things well and were all growing as a result. What I believe we were really seeing was the hand of the Lord guiding each of these churches to do similar types of things that He was blessing. One of the gold nuggets that we found was that all of these fast-growing churches cared for their visitors well and kept a high percentage of them. They didn't have a revolving door like most other churches. And then we noticed that most pastors weren't even aware that they had a visitor retention problem, or that if they fixed the problem, they would have amazing church growth potential. An average church gets between 3 to 5 visitors per week. Now, if we do some math, even at the 3 visitors per week, that's 156 visitors a year. And if you can keep 35 to 50% of them, that's major growth potential.
As a pastor, the first 10 years of my ministry here at Tabernacle, I experienced a lot of people in and out of the door. We'd have our good steady influx of visitors. We wouldn't keep them near to what I would like to have seen. Since the implementation of the visitor retention program, not only has the amount of visitors increased in our church, but how many stick and stay.
We've seen exciting results as we've taught over 2,000 ministry leaders how to better care for and integrate their visitors through our visitor retention course and our 1-hour quick start webinar.
When I came to the church back 11 years ago, we were running in and around 20 to 25 people on a Sunday morning, and we've been hovering anywhere from 50 to 80. But then last year, when we installed the visitor retention program, we were able to see many more people kept, and the church now has been running consistently for the last 2 months, well into the hundreds, and just recently have voted as a church to separate our services, to go to 2 morning worships, simply to accommodate the crowds in our small little auditorium. Our parking has become a problem. That's a wonderful problem to have. Souls have been being saved, lives have been being changed, folks following the Lord in believers' baptism, people being discipled, new membership courses being offered, going to be teaching another one here in another month. All of this has happened since last year when we enrolled in the visitor retention program and went through the program with Kingdom, and our people attended it, and it's really been like throwing gas on the fire. It's been really good for us.
In the Quick Start webinar, you'll walk away knowing how to immediately get and keep more church visitors. It's really not that hard. You'll also learn how to evaluate the friendliness of your church. Most churches think they're much friendlier than they really are. They're friendly with each other, but being friendly to their guests is another story.
Before we started the visitor retention program, I believe we were a friendly church. I believe we didn't know how to do some of the things to reach out in different areas. We've learned through the visitor retention program other ways to connect, to make it relationship oriented, not just church. Obviously church is very important, but church is 7 days a week.
We'll also explore 7 tips to becoming a friendlier church. And my favorite discovery of all is the 7 minutes that make or break a guest's visit to your church. These 7 minutes are so important that your guests will most likely determine whether they'll ever come back based solely on their experience during this 7-minute time frame. One of our pastors described his church as the snobbiest church in town. He went through our training and applied these principles, and one Sunday, not long after that, he was visited by a biker that came to their service. After the service, the biker approached the pastor and introduced himself. He said he was from the Christian Motorcycle Association, and they were looking for churches they were comfortable recommending new converts to. He told this pastor, "You have the friendliest church in town." The pastor was amazed because this was a 180-degree turnaround for this church. We've also had a lot of churches that have come through our training who have doubled their attendance before they even finished the program. This can happen in your church too. Don't miss this opportunity. The first step is to sign up for our 1-hour Quick Start webinar. I hope to see you there.